Welcome, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Today we'll be navigating the world of volunteer translation, where there's both a rewarding experience and an opportunity for real impact. I'm Lucio Bagnulo, and I'm the head of traditional language strategy at Amnesty International and a linked expert. I myself have collaborated as a volunteer translator for years with Oxfam GP and other organizations at the start of my career. So I've seen firsthand how meaningful this work can be. So in this session, we will be basically identify meaningful volunteer translation opportunities, and I will give you the keys on how to identify those. We will see how to choose organizations that align with your values, which is very important. And next, we will also discuss practical strategies to help you build skills for meaningful contribution, and understand when you might be ready to move towards paid work, which is, also very important because everyone needs to make a living after all. And finally, we will be looking at how you can build a professional portfolio from these experiences to support your career growth. So, as I was saying, I touched on values. I mentioned the word value earlier. So, volunteering is a commitment of both time and experience and expertise. So, it's essential to ensure the organization you pick and the work you do for them resonate with what matters to you. So here I try to give you some keys or key things to take into account when choosing the organization. Transparency is the first one. So the organization should be upfront about its mission, how volunteer contributions are used, and the specific impact of your role. So you should know how, for example, your translation, will be used and where they will appear, etc. And transparency also ensures you know exactly basically how your work will make a difference. Second is reputation. So look for organizations that have built a positive reputation among volunteers and within the communities they serve. So you can, for example, read reviews, check endorsements, but also talk to past volunteers, for example, because all of this can help you understand if the organization treats volunteers respectfully and provide, a meaningful experience. So the third point is purpose. Um, so make sure the organization projects contribute to meaningful, positive change. So ask yourself if the work aligns, for example, with causes you care deeply about and supports communities or issues in a constructive way. And last but not least, respect. Organizations that value their volunteers will treat them as essential contributors, providing fair guidelines, feedback, and appreciation. So look for signs that organization respects and values your time and skills, ensuring you can grow, you can develop from the experience without being taken advantage of. Many of you might be asking or wondering, okay, where do I start? Uh, let's explore some platforms and organizations where you can get started in volunteer translation. So I've included here only some of them, but I can certainly vouch for all of these. But there are many others, of course. So the first one is Respond Crisis Translation. So this platform connects translators and interpreters with communities in urgent need, like refugees and asylum seekers. And by volunteering here, you will play a crucial role in ensuring that critical information reaches people in crisis in their own language. Global Voices brings, on the other hand, together a network of volunteer translators who amplify stories from diverse and, I'd say, often underrepresented regions. In particular, through their Lingua project, you will translate articles covering social and political issues, helping bring local perspective to global audience. Tarjimly, um, they have developed, this organization has developed an app, and they connect volunteer translators and interpreters with refugees and aid workers for real-time language support in critical situations. So, for example, they've connected thousands of volunteers with displaced people in need of urgent linguistic support, in particular in the Mediterranean region, where, as we know, there are many, many languages. Um, then we have also NGO and international NGOs websites, like, Amnesty International, Oxfam, Save the Children, so on and so forth. So first of all, what I would, encourage you to do is to subscribe to their career newsletter, because this will allow you to receive updates on vacancies or open roles, also when it comes to pro bono or volunteer or internships from a translation viewpoint, or similar opportunities. These roles typically support advocacy and awareness campaigns, providing a way for you to engage directly with causes in human rights, social justice, and development. Then we have the UN Volunteers, or Unified Volunteering Platform, and this platform basically connects volunteers with United Nations projects, including translation roles. So it's not just about translation, but you can contribute to initiatives on global health, education, and development, all while gaining experience in international cooperation. So you can put here your language skills, at the service of other opportunities as well. And last but not least, TED. So, in particular, TED translation program offers several volunteer roles. There are translator, reviewer, transcriber, and even language supervisor roles. So these roles support the translation and subtitling of TED Talks, for example, helping ideas spread across language barriers. TED has also a very interesting mentorship program that pairs you with seasoned volunteer linguists, so you can refine your skills while being part of a global community dedicated to sharing knowledge and inspiration. So I encourage all of you really to explore the ones that best align with your values, interests, and causes you're passionate about. But once you have secured a volunteer role, it's important to approach this role with professionalism. So here are some ways to make the experience both rewarding and impactful. First of all, it is important to set clear expectation and have good communication. So start by clarifying deadlines, project scope, and preferred communication channels with your project manager or contact person in the given, organization or company, because as we all know, good communication builds trust and keeps everything running smoothly. And seek constructive feedback. So request basically feedback regularly. I cannot stress enough how important feedback is. So feedback is, a key, it's key to learning and improving, and it allows you to identify strengths and area for improvement or for growth. So positive feedback, of course, can enhance your self-confidence and can serve as a future reference for future work. But don't be put down by negative feedback, because negative feedback reveals hidden areas for improvement, offering a clear path to grow and refine your skills. So be it negative or positive, feedback is crucial anyway. Choose projects carefully. So select projects that align with your interests and career goals. So avoid overcommitting by focusing on projects that truly resonate with you and support your career as a translator or a translation project manager, because you might, not necessarily be interested only, in translating, but also in managing translation project. So try to, get on those opportunities. And last but not least, manage time effectively. So be mindful of balancing your volunteer commitment with other responsibilities to ensure you can deliver high quality work. So don't overcommit, guys. By approaching basically your volunteer work thoughtfully, you can gain experience and make a positive impact, but most importantly, lay a solid foundation for your career. But how, to take the leap to paid opportunities? So after gaining experience as a volunteer, you may feel ready to transition to paid work because, after all, we all have to make a living. And, there are certain signs you have to be able to recognize. So, for example, signs of readiness include consistent positive feedback. So, you have consistently received positive feedback on all your projects, or you have managed complex projects, or the complexity of the projects you have managed has been increasing, so you're able now to manage very complex projects. And then you have completed, or you have a portfolio of successfully completed projects. So all of these, indicators suggest you have built the skills needed to pursue paid roles opportunity confidently. But, it doesn't mean that you have to stop volunteering altogether if you don't want to, because many translators, or many of us, I do that too, continue to offer their skills pro bono, or for select organization, which keeps you connected to meaningful causes while balancing with paid roles. In some cases, also organizations you have volunteered with or offered your skills pro bono may offer other paid opportunities, or also might have paid internship schemes, such as those available, as far as I know, at Amnesty France. They have a wonderful translation internship scheme. But also, another very important point is to treat your volunteer work as a professional experience. So, as I was saying earlier, volunteering is commitment, and you must, approach it as real work. So, update your LinkedIn profile and add relevant skills and showcase, specific projects on your profile, on your CV. You can also link, for example, your translation that the organization has published on their website, and include that link in your portfolio, in your CV, or in your LinkedIn profile. And all of this can serve as a strong portfolio element. And it is also important, and I really encourage you all to ask for recommendations from project managers, and when possible, request a certificate detailing the volume of words translated, or the topics covered, the length of collaboration, the complexity of projects you have, handled. So this addition strengthens your CV and also help, I would say, future employers, recognize your contributions, your skills, your experience. So, in a nutshell, by treating, your volunteer work with the same seriousness as paid role, you're building a professional profile that reflects your dedication, skills, and impact. So, to wrap up, here are some key takeaways from today's session. So, first of all, choose organizations that reflect your values. So, volunteering is a commitment, I repeat it. So, make sure you are aligned with the organization's mission and ethical standards. Be professional in all volunteer roles. So, approach each volunteer project with professionalism, clear communication, and dedication, because it will help you build your professional profile. Prioritize growth through feedback. So feedback is a crucial tool for improvement. So seek it actively and use it to build your skills. So be it negative or positive, I repeat it, feedback is key for your development. And recognize the sign, of readiness to transition to paid roles. So recognize when your skills and portfolio have reached a point where you can confidently seek paid opportunities. And last but not least, showcase your volunteer experience. So don't underestimate the value of your volunteer work. It's work. Highlight it on your professional profiles, add it to your portfolio, and seek certifications that reflect your contribution. So, thank you very much for joining this session today. I hope you feel more equipped to make meaningful contributions through volunteer translation and to build a strong foundation for your future career. I'm of course here for any questions. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Any questions? You can, of course, also reach out to me, either here in person if you're here in Brussels today, and tomorrow, and on Friday, or via email, of course, or via the chat function. So, how competitive? There is a question from Lauren. So, how competitive is it to secure volunteering opportunities? Um, Competitive, I guess you mean as a work experience. I guess it depends on the language. Yeah. Well, so the I understand that your question is about and how sought after it is. Okay, so well, it can be very competitive. Of course, it depends where you find or you search for it. Of course, there are certain language combinations that are more in demand, I would say. Unfortunately, maybe Italian is not one of those for me. But you know, and there are many, as you can imagine, for example, in the NGO sector, everyone wants to translate for good courses. So competition is high, roles are not so many. That's why I was, encouraging you really to subscribe to career newsletter of those organizations, because you will be able to immediately react to those, and don't be put down by a no, because there will always be another opportunity. And maybe you don't have to look out for those opportunities in big organization, but it can be that there are small organizations that need language support anyway at your local level. So there is another question from Renee. So do you happen to have any place where we have testimonies of people who have done volunteering? I would really like to encourage young translators to do this to further their professional skills. Well, I think that on blogs like, on platform like Prosy, for example, there are some, you know, some testimonies. I know of some organization that sometimes they post, some of those testimonies as well. If you look, for example, at Response Crisis Translation, as I was mentioning earlier, there are testimonies as well. So all the majority of the organization I mentioned earlier, they have testimonies of the impact of this support on the ground, as we call it. And thank you, Maria Monica. So, Alexandra, what kind of work do volunteers usually do on such a project? What experience have you had? So, it's a very good question. I have, volunteered my translation skills when I was younger. Then I also volunteered as a project manager, translation project manager, so helping organize translation projects. And once I also volunteered as, in event management, multilingual event management. So as you can see, you can put your language skills, in different, or you can play in different fields, or there can be different opportunities as well. Any other questions? We still have some time. In any case, I would really, encourage you again to have a look at those, the websites of those organizations I listed because they are really in need of support. And there can be different, really different opportunities, not just, solely about translation, but I do know that, for example, some of the former translators also ended up being their own employees in the end, organizing, translation projects, etc. So that is a good opportunity for you. So Lauren is asking, do you think it is worth approaching smaller charities, organizations which perhaps don't have a translation program as such? Well, yes, I think it is worthwhile, and what you will be able to do there maybe is to have an impact and let them understand the importance of translation. Because many people don't think of how impactful, have their messages, conveyed in a different language can be. For example, at local level, let's imagine that they support refugees, but they are not able to speak the languages. Of course, you won't be able maybe to speak the language or the local language of the refugee, but maybe you speak French, you speak English or other languages, and you will help them a lot. So do reach out to them. Um, Eor is asking, how much time approximately did it take you to be engaged in volunteer translation before you switched to paid work? Well, it was pretty gradual. I think I volunteered more or less for 1 year, full time, because I was, a recent graduate. I was still living with my parents, so I didn't need to make a living. So that, was really key to gain experience through the feedback, through feedback, constructive feedback I sought back then. And then I transitioned to, I balanced out basically volunteering and paid work for some time. And then, the volunteering work reduced because I didn't have time. The commitment of the paid work was higher. So I just, kept one or two of those. Vince is asking, can you already do volunteer translations if you're still studying to become a professional translator? Yes, I do know that there are some organizations that will absolutely welcome you. And I repeat that, for example, the translation program, the TED translation program is a very good opportunity for you guys, for example, and try to, look out for those programs or mentorship programs. And for example, women on localization, now it's not about volunteering, but they have mentorship programs as well, which are very, very useful for career growth. So try to, search for those opportunities as well. A few minutes left. Any more questions? But if there are no more questions, I take this opportunity to anyway wish you all the best of luck for the future. And if you have any questions, later on, because it's normal that some question, comes to your mind afterwards. If you're here in Brussels, come to see me. Don't be afraid of approaching me. I don't bite. And also, you can use the chat function here in the platform. I will try, to come back to you during the breaks or, with a bit of maybe delay because I will be attending the very interesting sessions of these days.